Hello, I'm Dr. Scott Wadier.
And I'm Tommy Welling, and you're listening to the Fasting for Life podcast.
This podcast is about using fasting as a tool to regain your health, achieve ultimate wellness, and live the life you truly deserve.
Each episode is a short conversation on a single topic with immediate actionable steps. We cover everything from fat loss and health and wellness to the science of lifestyle design.
We started Fasting for Life because of how fasting has transformed our lives, and we hope to share the tools that we have learned along the way. Hey everyone, welcome to the Fasting for Life podcast. My name is Dr. Scott Wadier, and I'm here, as always, with my good friend and colleague, Tommy Welling. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Hey, Scott, how are you?
Awesome, my friend. Excited for today's conversation. We are going to be talking about key habits or actions that you can take on a day-to-day basis that are going to be optimal for your metabolic health. And guess what? This is the Fasting for Life podcast. We are absolutely going to be talking about fasting. We're going to talk about some other just simple metrics that you can focus on that don't involve the scale or measurements or the standard run-of-the-mill diet mindset type stuff. So excited for this conversation. If you are new to the podcast, welcome in. Thanks for giving us a shot. If you want to know more about Tommy, if you want to know more about myself, go back to episode 1 and listen. Give it a listen. It gives you the outline of our stories, how fasting transformed our lives, and now really, those first few episodes, why we do what we do week in and week out with the challenges, the resources on the website, the coaching programs, because we truly believe that fasting can be a solution for anyone looking to lose weight, reverse disease, increase their lifespan, get healthy, and anything and everything in between. Yeah. So happy, welcome. If you're new and you like it, please give us a review. This tells the podcast gods and goddesses in the world of metrics and tracking that I truly don't really understand, that we're doing something of value. So like, subscribe, follow, download, share, whatever those key things are on the podcast platform that you listen in on. We really, truly do appreciate that. And a moment of gratitude here for the long-term listeners. We really appreciate you coming back and being a part of our journey and allowing us to be on yours as well as we adopt a fasting lifestyle. The beauty of fasting, Tommy, you can eat carnivore or you can eat plants. And fasting can work. It's been around since the dawn of time, and anything in between, or a combination of all.
Yeah.
So today's conversation kicking off with key habits and action steps for optimal metabolic health, meaning we want to decrease the lifestyle disease that we see that is now prevalent. We want to decrease the insulin and diabetes and blood sugar related disease and all-cause mortality numbers and metrics. 8 out of the top 10 reasons why we related to all-cause mortality are related to insulin in some way. So that is why we focus on things that will balance and drive long-term health. And really, today, the conversation is going to be big picture about what can you do to maintain these habits or to improve these habits or to start these habits. And hopefully you'll pick 1 or 2 of these. Our goal is for you to put them into your lexicon today, meaning not tomorrow, not I'll start on Monday, not I'll start after the next whatever, but literally starting today, Tommy. So where do you want to start with key habits for optimal metabolic health?
Well, I wanted to start off by saying one thing, which is that it's not all about the just big overarching, got to get everything right, kind of changes like thinking back to New Year's resolutions and I'm going to do everything differently, next year or next week or on Monday or anything else like that. It's about the small things that we can consistently do over time. So little reminders, little front of mind, build on one thing and then add another thing to it. Things that you can kind of keep up with, because it really is the small things that add up over time all throughout the day. The food choices, the fasting choices, and the small little optimizers that we're going to be talking about today. So I think I guess workout time. I think workout time is one that I don't hear talked about a whole lot.
We went over these, right? And we prepped, but I didn't know. I didn't know where you were going to start. I love it. Unpack it. Let's go.
Yeah. So, when we talk about workout time, it's partially about duration, partially about time of day, and frequency as well, because what we're talking about with workout time is actual stimulation of your muscles. The more we can stimulate more muscular activity, and the more often we can do it, the more we're forcing the biggest glucose moving cells in the body to activate, to actually pull sugar out of the bloodstream and into those cells to actually fuel the movement. So it's interesting because a lot of times we hear exercise being touted as a weight loss tool or a health optimizer, but a lot of times it's thought about in the wrong way, like with respect to calories or with respect to athletes or athletic performance. But at the same time, for us mere mortals, and for us trying to make sure we have good insulin and good blood sugar control, our muscles are our powerhouse cells for sure. So when we can put in some strategic workout time multiple times throughout the week, and when we can do it more often throughout the day rather than just thinking, man, I just got to do like this long, strenuous kind of workout session, we actually have a bigger, better, more consistent impact on our blood sugar and our insulin, which is kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah, it's interesting too with this whole exercise timing thing, and we put a lot of importance on sleep because it really sets the stage for your circadian rhythm and your HPA axis and your hormonal health. So there's a lot of Dr. Molly Sims was talking on the Huberman podcast recently, I believe, and she was saying the marketing of the Hot Works boot camp, F45, those types of workouts are being marketed to the group of women that really don't need that at 5 a.m. from a hormone standpoint.
Yeah.
So the workout thing, typically you're more tired, you're drained, you're hungrier, you're more cravey because you're getting that spike on the cortisol, which is the stress response. And what we want is you don't get that follow-up growth hormone spike, which is actually building lean muscle. So we like to really strip this down because, like you said, Tommy, we did an episode recently on, the difference between a 30-minute walk or 30 minutes of working out and then breaking it up into 3 10-minute sessions of squatting and or walking. And what
or 10 3-minute sessions.
What did I say?
Right. 3 10-minute sessions.
I meant 10 3-minute sessions. Yeah. Good catch. That's totally not what the research said. So yes, we did an article before about breaking a 45-minute walk up into 3, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
What it does is when your muscles contract, the GLUT4 receptors move to the cell edge. And what that does is that allows your insulin, which takes the energy in your blood and shuttles it in, like you mentioned, but it increases that sensitivity. So when we do fasting, we decrease insulin, but we also want to increase the sensitivity. So zone 2 training, aerobic foundation, low intensity, steady state, walking, and then a couple of weeks of strength training, a couple of bouts of strength training a week. But you really don't need to do more than 30 minutes. And so the timing of it is making sure you're doing it strategically. Don't do it in the morning if you're feeling tanked after. Move it to a different time of day where it feels good.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying all workouts are going to be, I want to go do this, right? But there are days when you're not going to want to. But the workout time physiologically and then also mentally can help with your fasting period. So
yeah, and if you're used to like a late dinner or doing dinner OMAD, it can be nice to have a workout, to kind of cap the day, lower the blood sugar a little bit later on in the day. There's a lot of research that actually shows between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. is one of the prime times. So depending on your actual eating schedule for that day, that might work for you as well.
I want to go right into this. The one of the other habits is this, it's something very related to this. And I want to go to sleep. Is the strenuous nature of those workouts, and I alluded to it a little bit with this marketing that's out there with all of these classes, right? This high intensity interval training.
Yeah.
The reality is, those classes with most folks, you end up in the moderate intensity category, which is the worst category you want to be in.
Okay.
High intensity is short bursts of intense effort, getting you at least 85, 90% of your max heart rate, then interspersed with rest periods. But a lot of those classes or cycling classes, it's more of a moderate intensity over exercise. And the moderate intensity exercise training volume needs to be double, triple, sometimes quadruple. And when you're spending more time there, you're not getting that natural growth hormone spike. You're getting just the response from your adrenals and the cortisol. So we want to do both. So you want to do high intensity training a couple times a week, true hit, right? Figure out your heart rate, measure it, see if you're getting there. And then you want to do some low intensity, steady state zone training, walking, those types of things a few days a week. And I promise you, taking into account your fasting windows, you're going to see some body composition change that you typically won't see if you've been stuck or just kind of been losing that same 3 to 5 pounds.
Probably see an improvement in your VO2 max as well. Your
100%.
Your cardiac output as well, which will be incredible.
Yep. So this brings me to sleep, right? I know I already mentioned it, but this is another one of those foundational habits for metabolic health. We hear this often with sleep is, when I do longer fasts or I'm starting fasting, right? My sleep gets disturbed. Well, what do I do? Or I wake up between 1 and 3 a.m. or 2 and 4. Well, right there is an indicator that we've got work to do. And sleep should be the pillar where we start. It is something that is, what's the magic pill for weight loss? Start sleeping. And everybody goes, what? Sounds awful. Like, why would I do that? I need to get off my phone or go to bed early, or that's my only quiet time I get, or I'll sleep and I'm dead. It's a badge of honor, right? But sleep, easily your metabolism suffers and the body enters into an insulin resistant state, which can't process glucose, which means increased hunger, increased calories,
cravings,
increased inflammation. It really is important. So if you're sacrificing sleep to go work out first thing in the morning, that's a no-no to us.
Yeah, that's going to catch up with you too.
Yep. All right. So that's 3. Tommy, where do you want to go from here?
I think protein is a good one to kind of follow up with that because your energy based on your sleep and what you're doing with that energy during the day throughout your exercise. Also, it goes right into, okay, well, when I break my fast, how important is protein? Well, hint, it's very important. And also it's going to be not only is it the building block of muscle, which is what most of us think about when we think about protein, but also for every other cell in the body. We need protein. We need it for our immune system. We need it for digestion, for kidney and liver function, for brain function. Protein is a powerhouse, and it's really, really difficult for the body to mess up, metabolically speaking. So there's a lot of reasons why it's really, really good, but it's also not that we have to worry so much about just getting in a perfect amount of protein, especially right after our exercise. As long as we have it coming in consistently, then we're doing really, really well with it. Assuming that we're bringing it in on a consistent basis. But what I also wanted to mention was that protein helps to protect lean muscle mass, which is what you mentioned earlier, along with the growth hormone that we get from fasting. And that is also going to protect us against insulin resistance. So the fact that our meal composition, when we prioritize protein, we induce a more stable, predictable blood sugar and insulin spike that comes along with that meal, because we don't need those spikes to kind of counteract the macronutrients that we're bringing in. And thus we're actually helping to make inroads against old layers of insulin resistance as well. So we're bringing up insulin sensitivity while we protect and build lean muscle mass, which is the main driver of caloric burn as well and metabolic rate.
Yeah, I mean, satiety is so key.
Yes.
If you're worried, like, well, how much protein do I need, right? Well, we recommend 0.7, minimum 0.7 per ideal pound per pound of ideal body weight. And if you're like, well, I don't know what that is, I don't want to do the whole weighing and tracking thing, we just recorded an episode on tracking, right? Then I would say half. If you typically eat one small chicken breast, add a half. If you eat one burger, add a half. If you ate 10 ounces of steak, add 5 more. That's an easy way to simply increase the protein, is add another half serving.
Of your main protein source, huh?
Of your main protein source. Yeah. Protein you don't fall into excess protein, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't happen by accident, Tommy. I think that's your catchforce when it comes to protein.
Yeah, I need a shirt that says that. Yeah, absolutely.
You do. We need merch. Yeah. Anybody that does merch out there, reach out, info@thefastfoodforlife.com.
Yeah.
So it's also, here's the other thing though, it's not just for muscle, because muscle is the metabolic powerhouse. Like, it is the key. That's why we talked about, I love talking about workout time and and exercise and sleep, because yes, that will keep the integrity. That will keep your metabolism functioning high, right? Especially with that lean muscle mass. But one thing about protein is it's really the foundation of almost every structure and tissue in our body. Like helps build and repair hormones, enzymes, antibodies. So it's not just for muscle. It's really, really important for overall health too. And that's just something that we don't hear or talk about a lot, or hear talked about a lot, is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely, absolutely important. And if you're looking for more guidance, head to the show notes, the blueprint to fasting for fat loss. We've got some percentages if you're doing OMAD, like how to hit that. Just
Great
head
point.
there. It's in there. It's a free 20-page PDF. It's got a whole bunch of stuff in there. And it will help kind of connect some of those dots. All right, Tommy. Guide us. Where are we going next?
Yeah, I want to talk blood sugar levels for a minute here.
I like it.
Because when we're talking about some macronutrients and where the energy is coming in and what's happening during the day, if we could kind of visualize our blood sugar, then what a lot of times we would see would be spikes after meals or after ingesting something more carbohydrate rich. Obviously, there's going to be upticks anytime we bring in food for the most part. But what we want to do is we want to have less of the dramatic spikes, not the exercise induced dramatic spikes, because those are real too, but the food induced dramatic spikes, because as the blood sugar comes up, way up, insulin chases way after that. And typically, especially if we have some weight to lose, or we've been holding on to some excess weight for a while and we have some layers of insulin resistance, then typically our insulin spike will actually be overcompensating for the blood sugar spike. And that's part of the problem. It's almost like an internal overdose of insulin to combat what happened in our blood. And so if we can think about visually what we're doing when we make our food decisions to break our fast, then think about smoothing out some of those spikes. Think about what they call sometimes spike-free days, where can I go the next 24 hours without really having one of those just really strong dramatic peaks, and I can cut some of the volatility in that blood sugar that then cuts down on my area under the curve that my blood sugar was elevated, and thus that my insulin was elevated as well. That's really going to be that's going to add up. If I start stringing together some days like that and then some weeks like that where a lot of the days were counted as spike-free days, then now I'm really starting to have a big metabolic benefit that's really going to add up over time, decrease my insulin resistance, increase my insulin sensitivity, and I'm going to see those results in my cravings and on the scale as well.
That's why we love, periodic CGM, right? Periodic blood sugar monitoring.
Oh, yeah.
Because the lifestyle condition, the sleep, the stress, the physical activity, all of that is part of your blood sugar variability, and blood sugar should spike. It's a normal response. But we want to keep it under the area under the curve, right? If you got a kid coloring a rainbow, and they color the entire page underneath the rainbow, just imagine that. We don't want that all colored. We just want the rainbow to have color. We just want that arc on the blood sugar, that up and down, that sine wave, right? We want that to be a normal response, because high elevated long-term times of elevated blood sugar causes damage. It causes stress. It causes insulin resistance. It causes metabolic dysfunction. So you really want to see, when you look at blood sugar levels, Tommy, right? The normal range, it's kind of shifting in the functional medicine or functional health space. It used to be, right? Yeah. It used to be, all right, anything under 100 is fine. We really like to see anything under 80, 85, 86 in the morning. And then a 30 to 35, maybe 40 milligram per deciliter swing post meal, but it coming down within 90 minutes to 2 hours. Yeah. So we really want to and if you're like, oh, what the heck's a CGM? I'm not going to do that, right? You can feel this based on what we talked about earlier with sleep, is your cravings, your thoughts about food. We just talked about food noise and how many times we think about food.
all the
Well,
time.
a lot all the time. A lot of these, especially in the overweight and obese categories, a lot of times, and in the obesogenic and heavily food marketed environment that we live in,
Yeah,
highly processed, ultra processed, salt, chemically engineered, created foods to want us to grow an affinity or an addiction towards them.
sure.
So what we really um, so these, you can feel these things, right? The hyperglycemia. Now we're not talking about clinically diagnosed issues here,
Yeah, but
but
the big swings up and down.
yeah, you can feel those swings for sure. And that's the stuff we want you to pay attention to, which I think perfectly combined with this conversation, Tommy. The next one we should talk about is water intake. And I
Hmm.
want to talk more about hydration than the grab your giant 1 gallon jug that has the timestamps on. I'm going to upset some people when I'm saying this because some of y'all have them. You're
Right.
doing great. You need to catch up.
Oh,
You
they got the
drank
little
enough.
labels on it. Yeah.
Yeah, with the little lines, with the little, indicators, right, that you're
Yeah.
on track for the day. And this is, if you're looking for, hydration support, we love Redmond's Real Salt. We also love Element,
Mhm.
LMNT. There's a link in our show notes.
Yeah.
If it's your first time buying them, you can get Tommy, what is it? You can get a free sample box.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So you can try them. So we really want to, it's not just drink half your body weight in ounces a day, but it's as we start fasting, insulin comes down, aldosterone tells the kidneys to excrete water, and with the water goes the electrolytes.
Mhm.
Well, if we
Yeah.
just drink more water, are we hydrating? No, we're just drinking more water. We need to get those minerals. So salt your food to taste, supplement with salt, supplement with LMNT or something of the like, because that's really going to help your cravings, your hunger, your satiety cues, your sleep. All of it's connected.
Mm. Yeah, you know what? And one of the things that's recently being understood better that I haven't heard spoken about much at all is just the fact that increasing water intake to a more optimal level than what most of us would just do if we weren't thinking about it actually decreases a messenger in the body called arginine vasopressin (AVP), and when that decreases, we actually decrease the production of sugar in the body, gluconeogenesis, where we take macronutrients and we create sugar out of them. We decrease our glucagon, which is actually a chemical messenger that increases blood sugar levels. We decrease our insulin and we decrease our cortisol output as well, just from increasing our water intake. So I think that not just thinking about it like, oh man, I should drink more water, but coming at it from the why should I drink a little bit more water? Why should I be more consistent with my hydration? Those are some really good reasons, especially if we're looking for optimal metabolic health.
So interestingly enough, Harvard Health, harvard.edu,
Hmm.
did had a release, an article that they released where they recommended for healthy individuals, the average daily water for men is about 15.5 cups,
Hmm.
which I don't drink that much anymore, but that's 124 ounces. So just shy of a gallon.
Yeah.
But as a 300-pound person versus a 150-pound person, there's some variability there. And then it says for
Right.
women, about 11 and a half cups, which is about 90 ounces. But
Hmm.
here's the kicker. That might mean you need only 4 to 6 cups of plain water, depending on other fluid sources such as coffee, tea, juice, fruits, and vegetables, because those have water in them as well.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? So,
Meat has water in it too.
right? Coffee counts towards my water intake. Do you feel dehydrated? Is your pee like light yellow? Are you running
Yeah.
into the bathroom every 5 minutes? Then you're probably properly hydrated.
Mm.
Now, if you sweat like we are in Houston right now, or if you have a big heavy workout, then yeah, you're going to need some more, but make sure you're getting in those trace minerals because that's really going to help.
Absolutely. And start early in the day so you don't feel like you're chasing after it too, because I hate that.
Correct.
Doesn't work very well.
All right. The last one here, Tommy, is I really want to talk about. So we talked about workout. Another way to really easily get the workout is just get your steps in.
Yeah.
It's just move. Like do the 10 3-minute sessions, do the 1 30-minute post walk, I hate walking. And now that I've started walking consistently every day, like I get frustrated when I don't walk.
Yeah.
Like I really want it. But anyway, so the last one here is stress. So
Mhm.
the three musketeers of insulin resistance: sleep, stress, and food. Right? Those are going to be the three main drivers. So
Mm.
stress has a significant factor on metabolic health and blood sugar levels. It's adaptive. It's supposed to allow us to survive, right? Tiger jumps out of the woods, we run, we survive, great. And then
Mhm.
things are returned to normal.
And we burned off the sugar from the stress
Correct.
response, right? By climbing a tree or running away.
But the problem is the tiger is now an impending deadline, a conversation with your boss, an off conversation with your spouse, a text message where somebody just texts you okay. And you're like, does that mean okay, okay? Like okay or okay? Like I don't know. What does that mean? Or some form of distraction from the outside world, some social media post or world problem or something that just grinds your gears, right?
Yeah.
Especially in an election year. Um, Stress can be very helpful in the short term, but long term, it can elevate your cortisol, which eventually will crash. Cortisol is a good thing. It can increase cravings for sugary foods, refined foods, increase consumption, contribute to insulin resistance, and then this idea of metabolic health. So, what are a couple things that we can do, Tommy, in terms of easy things we can do that don't cost any money that we can do to help decrease or manage the stress response?
Yeah, well, you can go back to earlier in the conversation, get a little bit more and better sleep. That's going to decrease your
See what you're
stress.
doing here. You guys see
Yeah,
the web of overlap? That's why pick one or two of these.
right.
You're going to be getting a big bang for your buck.
100%. These are all interconnected. That's for sure. But a little bit of a few minutes of self care, a few minutes of like mindful meditation, or just breathing, being okay with an occasional. You know what? Let me just close my eyes for a few minutes when I have an opportunity to do so. That can be very rejuvenating, stress reducing, and even blood sugar and insulin reducing as well. Because what we're doing there is we're releasing endorphins, and we're actually tricking some of our wiring and some of our physiology in a more optimal way, and we're creating a balance there that we need on the other side of the induced chronic stress response. So think about it like that, rather than thinking about it like it's not a magic bullet. It's a weight on the other side of the balance, because right now we have the chronic stress that's always going to be there. We can't really do a lot about it a lot of times. So building in some of those just 5 to 10 minute windows, maybe once, twice, three times in a day if you can. And then that creates balance on the other side of things, which is really, really good for our long-term mental health, mental well-being, and our physiology as well.
Man, I was an anti-meditator. I'm still suck at it. Let's just be
Mm-hmm.
real.
Me too.
But I remember hearing, who was it? Not Russell Brunson. Who was the Growth Works, Tommy? Who is it?
I don't remember the name right now.
Oh gosh, goodness gracious! Where he would have a transition breathing exercise. You can do box breathing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But decrease in cortisol immediately, and then there was a diabetes study with a decrease in blood sugar, 30% reduction. So,
Wow.
breathing, meditation, um, getting out in nature, phoning a friend, petting a dog, right? Like all of these
Yeah.
things can promote those happy hormone production. So go find something that resonates with you. Go to YouTube, plug it in, search meditation. Journaling is another one, right? Getting the thoughts out on paper.
Mm-hmm.
Simple box breathing. I mean, Wim Hof. Don't do that in a cold plunge.
Right. Go do a cold plunge.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a good one.
How many willing people are out there? You got to let us know. How many other cold
Yeah.
plunge fanatics do we have? Don't
Lowers
worry,
my
we're not
stress
going to
level.
start. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're not going to start posting cold plunge videos every day. Don't you worry. So when we talk about the overview of this, Tommy, the healthy habits for metabolic function, the healthy fasting habits, right? We related a lot of these back to fasting and your fasting lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you want more guidance on that and what we think and believe, head to the show notes, click the link for the blueprint to fasting for fat loss. We've got other resources on the website. Join the Fasting for Life group. But
Join a challenge. We integrate all of these things into our lifestyle habits in a challenge, and we kind of push the envelope on what does the fasting look like, what do my plates look like, but also what am I doing in between. It's the small things that are going to add up over time, and these are a lot of those little levers that we talk about optimizing and pulling.
So I was speaking at an event for a whole host of functional medicine docs and providers. We have mid-levels and MDs and DOs and chiros and health coaches and all this diversity.
Cool.
And we were talking about, hey, let's list out all of the things that you can do to get someone well. And the list was pretty robust. It went on for about 10, 12 minutes.
Wow.
And guess what?
What?
It's all the things we're talking about. It's getting sunlight, getting out in nature, managing stress, walking, drinking water, quality sleep, exercise, balanced diet. Somebody said fasting. I was like, you just did that because I have a fasting podcast.
Right.
Cutting
the blood sugar spikes.
Yeah, part of the community. This is all the basic stuff that we would tell people to do to get well. And it's not complex. It's just that we don't have a focus on it. So that's why with fasting, guess what? You've got time to do other stuff because you're not stuffing your face all the time. And you've got a newfound amount of energy and brain clarity. So I want to encourage you, Tommy, as we wrap up today, pick one or two things from today's conversation. Do it today. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till Monday. Don't wait till the next life event. Do it now. Adopt it.
Don't do anything else until you do it.
Exactly. And on that note, Tommy, appreciate the conversation, sir. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. Bye.
So, you've heard today's episode, and you may be wondering, where do I start? Head on over to thefastingforlife.com and sign up for our newsletter, where you'll receive fasting tips and strategies to maximize results and fit fasting into your day-to-day life. While you're there, download your free Fast Start guide to get started today. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review, and we'll be back next week with another episode of Fasting for Life.